This is a story that my father told me back when he was a kid. He was living with his father and mother, and also his sister, in a native village in Africa. It was a small village, around 1,500 to 2,000 people. When they weren't attending school, my dad and my aunt accompanied their parents to the field. So here's a bit of explanation. In our country, it's not like in Europe or in the U.S., where the fields are nearby the farms. The fields are located far from the village, usually around 5 to 10 kilometers away, and you have to go through dense forest. So every morning, except for Sunday, villagers would walk for 2 to 3 hours through this rainforest so that they could reach the fields to work. They would be there till around 4 p.m. Then they would make their way back. They'd have to make it through the forest and into the village before it got dark. They'd be carrying either food or firewood for cooking or both. There's no road, just a narrow trail in the forest. It can be scary, but usually it's pretty safe if you stay on the trails. Sometimes you meet snakes, foxes, monkeys, some large birds, and other kinds of animals. Before there were elephants and big cats, but no more because of deforestation and poaching. Well, that day he went along with his sister and his dad. Everything went normal. On their way back, since his dad had a large load, he was walking more slowly. So his sister and him were walking in front. They were just little ones, so they didn't have to carry much, and they walked faster. His sister walked in front. His dad didn't speak. He was eager to get home. Well, the trip went well off without a hitch. Then suddenly, at some point, the sister, or my aunt, had a very strange feeling, almost like there was an emptiness behind her. When she turned around, she saw that her little brother was not behind her. She got surprised. She started shouting his name, but she didn't get an answer. She started to panic. He should have been just a bit behind her, and that's it. So she threw her load down to the ground and began to retrace her steps. She was shouting the name of her little brother. For several minutes, she saw nothing. Then at one point, she spotted several meters in front of her on the trail a tiny creature. He was a little over 1 meter tall, and this little creature was walking carrying a little boy, her brother, on his back. She stared in shock. She shouted loudly at the creature to ensure that it was what she thought it was. The creature turned back to my aunt. It was not human, and that was definitely my father on its back. When the creature saw my aunt, it started running, still with my father on its back. My aunt started running too in pursuit. The creature left the trail outright to get into the forest. It was not counting on the determination of my aunt, who was pursuing it through the forest. They went on for several minutes. Since she was more agile and faster than the creature, she finally caught up with him. She lunged at him, screaming, "Give me back my brother!" while grabbing her brother and pulling him back. The creature also grabbed onto my father. Then, seeing that my aunt was clinging, he let go of my father, who just fell to the ground. Then he just vanished, right before her eyes. My father was groggy, and he looked like in a dazed state. My aunt took him by the hand, and they went out of the forest to go home. Once they got home, when he regained consciousness, their dad and mom asked him how he ended up on his back. He said that he walked behind my sister when a creature appeared to him as a doppelganger of his father. It came from behind him and asked him if he was tired, and asked if he wanted to climb on his back to go home. So he agreed, because he thought it was his father. During all this time, and even when his sister was pursuing the creature, he saw himself on the back of his father. That was until he fell to the ground. This incident didn't occur again. They never knew what attempted to kidnap my father. I know until today, sometimes there are cases of disappearances throughout the forest, especially children. When I was little, I sometimes went to the field. We were asked to always stay in a group and to not respond if someone called from the forest. This story was allegedly true. I got this from a collection of true stories. I'm not really sure what that was. Well, the first thing it reminded me of was a flesh gate, but those are supposed to be a lot taller. being able to change form or appear to be someone else, but judging from the description from the sister, it sounded more like an Agagwe. Agagwes are like miniature versions of Bigfoot. They're probably the Bigfoot of the Hobbit world, honestly. Although it never mentioned them having any kind of supernatural gifts or anything. For appearance sake, that's what it sounds like. This was in South Africa, around the Ivory Coast. So if you want to look that up, I've got a link in the description to the cryptid information. What do you think it was? I'd love to read your thoughts down in the comments. Well, thanks for joining me. I'd love to give a special thanks to my patrons for your support, and also all my wonderful viewers. I really enjoy reading the comments too, so keep those up. Well, thanks for joining me, and until next time, this is Dallas, signing off.